Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. This is Living in Denver, Colorado today. A fun one, super informative. They're all fun, they're all super informative, but we're gonna dive into it a little bit different than we've done before, but we've got a lot of questions on this one. So whether you are in Colorado or you're coming to Colorado, this will be for you, but we will be talking about how to sell your house fast and for the most money.
Got through it. All right, guys, let's check it out. What's up, guys? We are the Mile High Property Brothers with the real living in Denver, Colorado.
I feel like he's taking jabs with that, huh?
A little bit of jabs here. It's Friday. We're getting after it, guys. But if it's your first time visiting our channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because every Tuesday and Thursday we're dropping a new video. Every other Saturday we're dropping a new video. Guys, we dump a ton of content on this channel and you don't want to miss out.
100%. And we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado, which means as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number that's popping up below, we are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So super excited to help you guys. It's also fun because we sit up downtown. We like the atmosphere of being downtown and people walking around, but we also have like people looking at us from like a window over here. So it's like I'm focusing on you guys, but I'm also like making sure I don't have like a booger or something. I know someone's like staring at it. But either way, it's gonna be some fun. We'll be talking about how to sell your house fast and for the most money. And it might not be quite what you think, but let's dive into it. And again, if you're here in Colorado, yes, if you guys need some help, we would love to help you guys sell your homes in Colorado. Yes, we have a huge network of buyers that are coming, and we might be able to even do it off market for you. If you're out of state from Colorado and you're moving here, but you are contingent, not necessarily financially, but you've got to sell your home wherever you're at to get here, yes, these fundamentals will still super apply to you.
Yes, and on top of that, we'll talk about some strategies. If you are selling a house in another state, how to time that with moving to a different state, such as Colorado, and how you work out the whole selling and buying thing. So stay tuned for that.
And we got a super good dude on like how to time that appropriately and then like just live on the road. Digressing, no, don't do that, especially here.
That's right.
Let's do this the right way, but hey, without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, guys, so number one, and to us, it all starts with this foundation, and that is prepping the home. Now, when we get clients that reach out to us and they're interested in selling the home, after we go there and we sit down and chat with them, look at the overall condition, what we generally try and do about a month to 2 weeks before we plan on taking photos is we go through the house with them, we go room by room, and really our job is to show them the things to do and help them do the things to do that are gonna get them to have their house look the best.
100%. So, and this is super important, like, hey, is there money that could go into a home before you put it on the market? Yes. What are your financial options? Hey, that's a conversation. Is there ways that myself and I can help you with that? Yes. But the bottom line is, if you're looking at getting the best price or the highest activity for your home, you've got to make sure that you prep and show that home in its best form, right? So like if Eli is looking for his wife and she's a super good catch, like him in oversized sweatpants farting on the couch eating Doritos is probably not the best way to do it, unless she's got a sense of humor and she knows what he's doing.
I love happy endings.
But hey, listen, when we're selling a home, we are not trying to have a sense of humor. We're not trying to have people come in and laugh or correct things in the home. So within our realm, if there's a way to present this home the best possible, yes. And believe it or not, it's not just prepping this so you can have good photos. A lot of people edit graphics, like, you know, edit furniture or edit
virtual staging,
walls and skies, like into your
greener grass,
into your photos. So when people are looking at it online, like, they think that it gets something. Like, hey, if you fool somebody with your photos like that because they're not versed in what they're looking and they actually buy into like the walls being clean and things being fixed, and they get to your house and it's not a presentation, believe it or not, they might not have minded it so much when they showed up. It's that you set this standard here and deceived them, and now it looks like this, and people literally ask, like, well, what's really wrong with this house? What else is wrong with this
catfish
house?
your house. Don't be a catfish house.
No, definitely shouldn't do that. So, but yes, are there some things you could do for little cost or intermediate cost that can be huge changes? Yes, 100%. Sometimes even no cost if you're okay to do the work yourself.
Yeah, the big things, not to go on too long about this because this could be a whole video in itself, but decluttering, very basic, right? But then there's little things that you might not think are a big deal, but are a big deal to sellers. And maybe not a big deal, but hey, if it's just one other little thing that they're thinking they have to do, they could just move move on to something
And
else.
before you get
Go
to
ahead,
that, full disclosure, yes, even in Denver, when you're selling your home in Denver, people still care for the product. So, yeah, you can have your home sit on the market and be very stagnant in the second hottest market in the country. Yes, homes still sit out here and people don't buy them, especially if you are several weeks into your listing and no one is buying it. Then people don't even come see it because they think it's fallen out of contract or something's wrong with it or what. Hey, and then you really start getting to that long-term stagnant, which means you're better off removing that entire listing, maybe waiting a month and starting over from scratch. But super big, and the things that you're going to talk about.
Two simple things, guys. Like light switch covers, outlet covers. If you have those old, outdated, yellowed ones, go in and getting brand new, bright white ones from Home Depot for like 40 or 60 cents has a big effect. In addition to that, even just taking some touch-up paint and doing your baseboards and the trim around the door, those are little things that often go overlooked, but it does really have a big effect on buyers.
Yes, and we do have a staging company that we work with, and yes, they stage, but they also talk about decluttering. So when you've got nice furniture and things are well taken care of and it looks nice in your home, you don't have to get rid of it and be vacant or be fully staged. They actually come over and consult and talk to you and to us about, hey, with what you do have, are we maximizing that furniture? Is it in the right spot? Could we take some things out of rooms? Could we shift some things around? Yes, those little things matter. Especially if you've got an open concept, you've got to help people visualize what it could be versus them kind of getting lost and not sure how to utilize the space as best as possible. Which, yes, believe it or not, subconsciously it does subtract or detract a buyer from maybe committing to that home.
The bottom line is you want your house to look amazing in photos, and then you want the house to look as good, if not better, in person.
Number 2, let's get right into it. We're going to be talking about pricing.
Yes, uber important. By far, this is, well, outside of prepping, this is the next most important thing that you got to do correctly.
And just being competitive is always going to be a great thing. So, hey, do you want to be more value than the price that you place it at? Yes. Is there a theory in pricing a home competitive to drive a lot of traffic? Yes. At the end of the day, the market's going to be what the market's going to be. Even if you get 100 showings and 40 offers, those offers are only going to go so high, but they could go over asking price. If you price yourself out of a comp bracket, of a pricing bracket, and you're the biggest one out of someone's option, or excuse me, the smallest one out of someone's options, like that can also hurt. So the whole theory as far as like, if you want to sell your home for around 500, yes, does it benefit you to go into the high 4s versus being right at the 500 or just over? Yes, because hey, the people that could push it a little bit more, where you are the biggest option for them, they don't even see it. And then when you're at that 500, well, if lending works for $25,000 to $50,000 increments, man, like people that are looking at your 500 to 550 or 500 to 580, they're looking at yours, but you're really like in that high 400, like you're going to be the smallest or less conditioned home of the options that they have. You're going to miss a pile of people.
Yeah.
One theory.
And really, guys, I'm a firm believer in the sense that you cannot underprice a home in today's market. No. You can't underprice it. The buyers, you guys, the market is very intuitive. If there's a house that is worth 700, and let's say you just get ridiculous about it and you price it at 500, I promise you that house is going to escalate up to 700.
And he's being aggressive for the sake of the video.
Correct,
no one's going to go pricing your home for 500 or 7. But there is a theory of being competitive and making sure that you're driving traffic. And the reason why is because you want people to see it. When people see this home and they're attached to it, or they feel like they could raise their family, or they see like they see their near future in this home, and they've got to throw a little bit extra on there, it's no longer about the total price. So if you're listing a home at $700,000 and it gets competitive and offers are at hey $750, they're not talking about $700 anymore. They're talking about, hey, do I want to add $50 or $75 to this price tag on my mortgage because I can win this home that I really love, that I really want to be inside of. And they're talking about an extra $75K on a 30-year fixed loan. You're talking about $130 right now added to your mortgage. You're not talking about, oh man, $775. If it's priced there before they even come see it, they feel like it's too high. If they come see it and they love it and they really want to see their future there, and it's only $75,000 more and they do qualify and it's an extra $130, well, the conversation becomes, is this home worth $130 extra per month than the other homes that you've seen? And more times than not, it's a yes, because it checks all of their boxes. So they emotionally get invested and they get competitive and they submit the offers that it takes to win those homes. So yes, you want to be as competitive as possible for those reasons. And if people aren't seeing that home, if they're not in it during that time, we're not going to get their best effort offer. If that makes sense, guys.
Now, to recap, before we hit point number 3, we've had prepping the home. We've had pricing the home. Now, our third P and third point is picking the right offer.
Full disclosure, he did not have that third P picked out. We knew what we were going to talk about for the third pillar, but he did not have that third P picked out until right now. So credit to Eli. I feel like humbly my influence of being full of crap
adapting
has
and
helped
overcoming.
him figuring out. But yes, this is going to be a super big. And full disclosure, before we move to this one, yes, even people at that $3 million mark still deal with how to price a home because there's still comps within that area, and there's still competition around the city of folks that are moving to Castle Rock or Highlands Ranch or Parker. They're kind of okay with a lot of them because they're so similar. So yes, your $3 million home in Castle Rock, yes, it is being compared to a $3 million home somewhere else because folks are like, hey, if I'm 45 minutes from Denver, I'm good. There's a lot of great views out here. They're not so much picky to a neighborhood. You do have some sellers, or excuse me, some buyers that want to be in a certain neighborhood. But the way like you've got views and the way that wealth has been spread out here, there is still a competition side to the comps that are actually in your neighborhood. Yes, they still deal with it. We have a listing coming up that is right at the $3 million mark in Castle Rock. Super great home, but we have these conversations and sellers have these concerns even at that price point. Digressing, let's get to picking the offer.
Yeah, so when it comes to picking the right offer, hey, a high offer is fantastic, right? Like, however, it's got to get to the closing table, and there is so much more that goes behind an offer than just the price that's on the front of that contract.
So without getting like too convoluted, let's just give some examples, right? So let's say somebody, you know, they're really aggressive, they really want to win that offer, and they're going to go for, let's say $150,000 or $125,000 over your asking price. If you've got that realtor that's working with you, that's vetted, that understands comps and competitions, we know where things are going to lie. As far as like, hey, what could it go for on an appraisal? Not that the appraisal is the end of the day, because people can also offer an appraisal gap, okay? So when people offer $100,000 over, well, how much of an appraisal gap are they offering? That does matter because if we're selling at 700, they're offering 8, and we feel super strong about the comps at 725 and maybe 735, but they're offering 8. Are they able to cover that $80,000 appraisal gap? And hey, where do you find that out? Well, you find it out by having a conversation with that lender before you even go under contract. The fact that they submitted once, hey, great, I'm going to call that buyer agent, right? But we're also going to be talking to that lender, and I hope they're familiar with the address that's being requested. I hope they're familiar with their clients, and hey, are those funds readily available and where are they coming from, right? I don't need bank statements and all of these things. Like proof of funds are a great thing as far as in addition to just your earnest money, but where's that coming from? Is that coming from an account that's readily available? Is that, hey, would that come from a 401k or something else where they really have to dive deep and pay taxes or penalties on it? Like, okay, now they still have it, but they might also be planning that, hey, this is probably going to appraise for 8 because the demand is high and we're not going to have to pay as much on that gap. Well, what happens when it doesn't appraise for 800? What happens, or even close? What if it does appraise for that 735 or 725 where the other comps were at? And now they do have to do the biggest gap that they were prepared for, and maybe they're not because maybe they don't want to pay taxes on their 401k to pull that out, but maybe they were using that to throw the offer, betting on the appraisal being higher. Well, hey, those are just things to consider versus someone that has money like that that's readily available, that they're not paying taxes on, they're easily accessed, and they're okay and they're prepared with that, right? So that's one question. Another question, and I kind of mentioned it here, is also with your lender, just hey, how prepared are they with the client? How aware are they of the client that submitted an offer for you? How aware are they of the address and the conditions of whatever term they've got to be on for this price point? These are all great questions. And listen, if we're getting some discomfort there from buyer agents or from lenders, you're the seller, you're still going to decide, but this is where due diligence and research from a veteran realtor that does a lot of listings, that works with a lot of buyers, that understands the right questions and the right responses and the level of proficiency and preparedness that buyer agents and buyers should have. These are super important because what you don't want to have is you go under contract super quick, but these people weren't quite in it because they threw an offer at another house this weekend and they decided to go on that one, you followed a contract, or they're not prepared for that appraisal gap because you didn't even ask them, and everyone was just betting on it appraising because they qualify for 800, but they don't have more than 15,000 toward a gap, and you appraise at 725, and now they don't even have the funds because everyone was betting on it appraising, and your realtor wasn't asking those questions, nor did the lender even pick up that they're offering $100,000 over, but they've offered no gap. Everyone is unprepared here. You're setting yourself up for failure. But hey, if these things are overlooked, you could find yourself in a big problem because now you've been off market for a month and you're going back on. And how many buyers, how many quality buyers did you miss that you could have picked the original time and closed versus maybe dodging this bullet by just asking the right questions. And no, you can't always dodge every bullet. There are some circumstances that, hey, they happen, and of course that happens, but asking the right questions, being prepared, having a plan for how we pick that offer is super important to at least mitigate as much as possible the friction or the or just the wrong buyers.
Let's go into some of the topics, like I mentioned earlier here, of just some tips that can really help a seamless transition from the sale of your house in one state to the move and the purchase of a sale in another state. So one of the biggest things that people ask us is, hey, how do I work it out, the timing? Like, I don't want to be without a home. What if I sell my home and I haven't found one out here yet?
Correct.
Well, as you're selling your house, one of the absolute best things you can ask your realtor about is post-occupancies or rent backs or lease backs. They're called different things in different states.
Yep. Well, to add on that as well, so most people, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this when you're buying something contingent, right?
Yep.
If you're submitting an offer as a buyer and you are a contingent buyer, it means I have to sell my house, right? I'm getting the funds from that house to then buy this house. And typically the one that you're selling is all the way through inspections and it's pretty solid that it's going to close. And then you start getting that process, but you're contingent. You've got to sell that, right?
Yep.
Finalize that sale to buy this. Most people don't realize you can be contingent as a seller. So when you decide to sell somebody your home, you can tell that buyer, hey, I'm selling you this home contingent on me finding one. And if I don't find one, I don't have to sell by this date or at all, right? So yes, protect yourself with that because post-occupancies are great. However, if you're only doing a post-occupancy and you haven't found a home and you're not okay with an Airbnb or with, you know, a temporary rental, which most people are because they just want to get to Denver. But if you're in Denver, or hey, if you're in no rush to get to Denver, yes, you can be contingent on saying, hey, I'll sell you my home and I'm accepting your offer, but that's contingent upon me finding my own to buy. And if I can't find that, I'm not having you kick me out of my home, or yeah, I've got a 30-day post-occupancy, but if I still don't find something I like, now I'm rushing into that buy process and I'm buying something that maybe is not quite for me, and then 6 months from now you've got buyer's remorse, and it's just not a great thing, right?
Okay, now just to wrap up what a post-occupancy is here. So in case that might be a great tool for you, which it might be, essentially what that does, that allows you to go under contract on your home, close on your home, they officially own it, and then you stay there as a tenant for 30 or up to 60 days.
Correct. And for the most part, guys, you can find a home for yourself. Even if you're moving out of state, you can find something in that 30 to 60 day window. But again, if you really want to protect yourself and not feel like you're forcing yourself to sell a home, because here's the deal. Even if you go contingent, hey, we'll sell you our home, but we're not forced to sell you unless we find something for ourselves. Even if it takes a little bit longer, that buyer that you've got, they're probably going to hang out for a little while to just still buy your home if you need an extra week or two to find one yourself. So again, contractually, it's just how can you protect yourself as a seller, because hey, if you do end up closing, okay, no big deal. We still have a 30-day post-occupancy, but hey, what if something happens where like you couldn't go look for a week or two, or you're just not finding the home that you want, but now you feel like you're forced to buy, and you don't want to move all your stuff into an Airbnb, or you don't want to get a storage. Just things to think about. Again, more times than not, people do the temporary, like we've had folks do Airbnb out here and short-term rentals, and it's worked phenomenal. We can help you with that. We can also help you find a storage. But again, just know what that is. Know that once you sell your home and use your post-occupancy, you're getting out. So whether you like it or not. So if you're okay with an Airbnb, or if you're okay with a short-term rental, not a problem. If that would bother you, don't go accepting a contract that's not contingent upon you finding something, and now you've placed yourself in that position without realizing it or even being okay with it. So again, just contractually protecting yourself.
And in this market, guys, most buyers are more than okay allowing a post-occupancy. So those are the two tips right there. I'm glad you brought up contingent on the purchase of another home.
Correct.
And then that post-occupancy as well, guys. So two great options. Man, any other questions? Last options.
Last note that we'll leave you guys, hey, don't feel like you've got to use this video and then be prepared. If there are questions, whether you are selling here in Colorado, we've got a network of buyers that would be happy to buy your home, or whether you're out of state and hey, maybe you've got a realtor out there, or you're looking for a realtor out of state, yes, we do have resources out of state that might be able to help you guys in the state that you're in. Either way, don't feel like you guys can't call us about the sale of your home out of state. Let's find you a resource. Let's find somebody prepared to walk you through this process and execute it professionally. And yes, because we are licensed brokers in Colorado, we can help you with all of that as far as resources out of state, and then helping you guys execute here selling a home or buying a home in the state of Colorado. So that number that's popping back up below, we are the guys to answer phone calls, text messages, and emails. So if there's something we can do to help, we'd love to. Excuse the banter. Decide people wanting to get on on video, but
you guys probably won't see any of it.
Yeah, probably not. Maybe one part. Either way, have a great day. We'll see you this weekend or this week.
We'll see you guys.